Dragonite has had an interesting history in competitive Pokemon. With each new generation, Dragonite's identity and power level has significantly shifted. In Generation 1 OU, it's one of the few Pokemon with access to Wrap, which used to be a completely different move. A 15 power attack with 85 accuracy that completely prevents the target from doing anything, kinda like a flinch. Dragonite can use Wrap repeatedly and basically stun lock the enemy. It's pretty good in OU, but it's also weird, not exactly what you would imagine from this iconic pseudo-legendary. Dragonite was still figuring out its identity at this point. In Gen 2 they gave Dragonite a lot more offensive tools, a lot more coverage, but in the metagame it's a pretty unremarkable Pokemon. It does have solid move pool and typing with some good coverage and utility options, but it's very rarely used in OU play. In Gen 3, the design and identity of Dragonite started to make a bit more sense and become more concrete. The new move Dragon Dance was an excellent new tool that let Dragonite finally take advantage of its great physical attack stat. Its good coverage also made it a decent mixed attacker. However, Gen 3 also introduced another powerful dragon type that pretty much outclassed Dragonite in every way: Salamence. Salamence was faster, had a superior ability called Intimidate, and even outclassed Dragonite as a mixed attacker. Dragonite is still used in Gen 3 OU occasionally because of its access to unique options like Electric and Ice coverage, Focus Punch, and Heal Bell, but it's extremely niche still. Generation 4 is when Dragonite finally found its footing as a competitive mainstay. Gen 4 introduced the Physical Special Split, which was an enormous buff to Dragon types overall. Before this, Dragon type attacks could only be special, but now every type had both physical and special attacks available to them. Outrage was also buffed to an incredible 120 base power. The buff to Dragon types was so significant that Dragonite's previous rival, Salamence, and the new Pokemon Garchomp were actually banned from OU because they were too overwhelming and difficult to deal with. Dragonite became one of the few dragon types still at an appropriate power level for competitive play. And not only were dragon types buffed overall in Generation 4, so was Dragonite itself. It gained an excellent new move that has become a staple since: Extreme Speed, an 80 base power normal type attack with +2 priority. What an incredible way to take advantage of Dragonite's huge attack stat. Generation 5 was even kinder to Dragonite, providing it with the most significant tool yet: the new ability Multiscale, one of the most powerful abilities in the entire game. This ability allows Dragonite to take half damage from any attack when it's at full health. This is enormous and allows Dragonite to survive pretty much anything when it's at full, even if it's super effective. This can be used to get a free turn, which allows you to Dragon Dance, or just allow Dragonite to hit you one more time with a huge Outrage or Extreme Speed. Dragonite is one of the best hyper-offense Pokemon in Generation 5, and it sees use very commonly in high-level play, and the addition of Multiscale has made Dragonite a powerful offensive threat in every generation since. It's always had one big drawback, however, and that is a vulnerability to Stealth Rock. Stealth Rock is an entry hazard introduced in Generation 4 that deals damage to a Pokemon as it switches in based on that Pokemon's weakness to Rock type. Dragonite, being a flying type, takes a significant 25% damage from Stealth Rock, which not only brings it closer to death each time it comes in, but also removes its powerful multiscale effect since it's no longer at full health. Teams that use Dragonite need to have a solid plan against Stealth Rock to get the most out of the Pokemon. However, in Generation 8, Dragonite got another new tool that pushed it to even greater heights. The new held item, Heavy Duty Boots, was released, which makes the holder completely immune to all entry hazards. This brought a lot of previously unviable Pokemon who were very threatened by Stealth Rock in the past to the forefront, and in the case of Dragonite, it was a huge buff to an already very powerful competitive mainstay. Obviously, an immunity to Stealth Rock makes Dragonite's multiscale so much more effective, and makes the Pokemon a lot more difficult to deal with. Now here we are in the present day. Generation 9 is released and Dragonite is back. It still has multiscale, it still has heavy duty boots, and it still has all of its amazing offensive tools from the past. And as is tradition, a new mechanic was introduced in Generation 9 that made Dragonite even more powerful yet again. The new mechanic, Terastallize. This mechanic allows one Pokemon per game to transform into a new type. When they do this, they gain same type attack bonus for that new type, as well as keeping the same type attack bonus for the types they were previously. The most effective users of this mechanic so far are Pokemon with excellent offensive typings that can then become a strong defensive type while maintaining that amazing stab they used to have. Annihilate and Skeledirge are good examples of this. However, I believe that the most powerful Terastallize user of all, and the most powerful Pokemon in the entire format, is this old classic Gen 1 Dragon type, Dragonite. As if the combination of boots and multiscale wasn't powerful enough, even with these tools, Dragonite still has a drawback in its vulnerable typing. It has a ×4 weakness to Ice, and is also weak to Dragon and Fairy. But now, it can remove those previous weaknesses whenever it likes by changing into a new type via Terastallize, as well as gaining a new stab type for its wide offensive coverage options. The most popular option is to become normal type. This not only makes you neutral to every type except for fighting, which means you take pretty much nothing from any attack because of multiscale. It also now boosts the damage of your extreme speed. It has other solid Terastallize options too. Steel is a great option because it will now resist all the types it was previously weak to and more, and also gain Steel Stab to threaten the fairy types that previously might have actually countered it. So, handling Dragonite by traditional means feels very difficult now. Not only do you have to deal with its multiscale, not only do you have to deal with its immunity to Stealth Rock, but now you can't even hit the thing super effectively without playing a guessing game of what Terra type it could have. Preventing Dragonite from setting up feels almost impossible now, when it was already very difficult in the past, and now it gets even more value from that Dragon Dance with its increased offensive potency from Terastallizing. The topic of Terastallize is a controversial one in the community. Many players love the mechanic for the various different ways you can use it and the dynamic situations it can create, which are fresh and interesting. However, you can't deny that Terastallize enhances some already very powerful Pokemon such as Dragonite, and makes them much more difficult to respond to. However you feel about the Terastallize mechanic, you can't argue that Dragonite is a premier abuser of this new mechanic that is absolutely dominating the metagame at the moment. I'd love to hear your thoughts about Terastallize and about Dragonite down below in the comments. Be sure to like the video and subscribe for more competitive Gen 9 gameplay, discussion, and informative content. Thank you to the patrons. If you'd like to see a team that you built feature in one of my videos, or request a video topic for me to cover, take a look at my Patreon rewards in the description for more information.
The money got different, cause of what I'm spending. The money got different,
oh, it's
cause of what I'm
Megaphone!
spending.
Whoa,
The money
KO
got
by
different,
one hit! It
cause
scattered
of what I'm
spikes!
spending. The money got different, cause of what I'm spending.